Well, hello friends, this is Johnny Flyer, and what you see in front of you is part of what's taken me so long to get a video up. This is my new train layout that I've been kind of working on. I've had the local train shop help me out with a little bit, and as you can see, it's a little bit of a mix of types of track. I've got fast track on the outside. I wanted to test some of that out and went a little bit overboard. So what you see in the middle there is well, I'll just take it from the outside. So the outside is actually one big continuous loop that intersects with two switches. So you can see I've got a big outside loop here. I've got my whistling billboard over there. Switch it into the inside loop right here, and then once it does that, it will come and hit the inside loop. Right through here, it'll cross over, back in the back, and it'll go over. And I'll explain the conversion into American Flyer with the two switches there in just a second. The idea, so inner loop here, and then outer loop here. And then what we used, I did about some track transition, so we went from the fast track to the classic American Flyer track. And in order to make sure that we have an inner and outer loop that don't interfere with one another, so this is on the 2-track setting. And so what I'll have to do is when I want to run one of these trains from the outer loop to the inner loop, what I'll have to do is keep this one flat for normal operations. So it has an inner loop and it can go straight across. That's just in the case that I don't want to have it go inside of our loop here, so we can get it into, say over here and build a consist. But then if I want to move trains around on the inner loop, well, then what I have to do is create my inner loop, and then this will be powered, and it will remain a closed loop off of a separate power from our main generator, or from the outside loop power. The inside loop, which starts over here, I kept with the classic American Flyer switches, and obviously I have yet to wire those, so I won't be able to show you the entire thing in action. But what I wanted was an inside area here with a couple of sidings where I could run two trains, most importantly. So what I can do is I can run one train on this continuous classic American Flyer track with a series of sidings. I've got, I believe, 3. So 1, and then down here 2, and then right next to that is 3, if you can kind of see over here with our cow accessory and the log loader. And then I've got my semaphore here just to add some dimension. I've got a salmon semaphore I'm going to throw on here. Obviously my log loader needs a little bit of restoration work, a la the Mystic Station here, which is almost completely done. And I think if you've seen my videos, you know how that conversion or that restoration went. And the last step, of course, is going to be to put some windows on it, which I just happen to have right about here. So those are going to go on here shortly. Put those on order, and finally got those. Very stoked. And so you can kind of see I've got, this is sort of my passenger station here. I've got a Gerard station over there, and it does have a whistle inside of it, which is kind of cool. 2 light towers. I'm going to put the big green probably over here, just to give it sort of an industrial feel. So we'll have my industrial area over here, and then my people area over here. I think what I'm going to do is put some people over here, maybe a road effect, just to kind of give it some, some life. I've got my railroad crossing light over here, and then some neat little light poles, which probably see if I can't put LEDs in there. The first up, of course, is Granddad's 326, and I want to give her a run around the outside circle just to kind of show her to you. I do have one little problem on my outside loop that I would like to show folks, just for to see what you think. But here we go. there it went. Okay, so you may have noticed that over here on our turnout, the tender managed to derail itself. So I'll probably take a closer video of that, see if I can't get some expertise from the audience here and see what you all think. But so while that's going on, I can simultaneously run an inside loop. So very, very excited about the possibilities here. Obviously not so much about a brand new turnout giving me trouble, but and so real briefly, this is what's going to drive the train table. So big 30B here to drive it with up to 18 volts for the trains and make sure we have multiple train operations. So you got inside or outside loops and the inside one right here. Here's your switches, your turnouts for the outside loop to put it on the inner or outer X. And then these, I'm going to use the classic American Flyer switchers for the classic switches. So there's 5 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up there. And I'm running it on the 2-switch option in most places. And I'm going to have to wire it specifically so that I've got the ability to switch and manually control this. But so if I've switched this suddenly becomes live, and I can work my passenger terminals right there. I can load up a consist that way. Also means I'm going to have to figure out how to, I think I may have my trains be going the wrong way with this current layout because I have to be able to back in. So I may need to run this as a counterclockwise loop now that I'm looking at it. Anyway, so when this opens, I now get a constant electrical connection here. I run wires here and over here, and I like the continuity that I get. I know that a lot of folks like to solder these wires to the track. I gotta be honest with you, the track connectors seem to work really, really well for me, and they give me an option if I decide I want to move some things around, or if I want to lift this up, I simply just disconnect that. I can pick the whole track up and continue to work, or if I have to replace something. It just saves me a little bit of time and effort, so I'll put that back in just a bit. So I've got some little bits and pieces here and there that I need. This is some action track, and I've got to wire my road here. I want to put a road in here somewhere. I just need to figure out, it's probably over this away, maybe a crossing over here, just to give it some dimension. And but I like the way I've split this up. I think I'm going to take my big green, looks like light tower there, probably put it over here in our work area. And so we split this out. This is the more industrial area. I have a space I have reserved for my sawmill that's going to be right in this, excuse my finger, right in this particular area. And the rest of this is pretty much working space. So power comes off the transformer from here. As you can see, I've got left and right side wired here. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to run a tandem set from this one right here. So I'm running all my accessories off of this, trains off of this, and that way whenever I start running trains, I don't find a loss of power. And so I'm just going to kind of trace wires here for you. But what we've got is 3 bus lines really. So I have an accessory bus line that goes all the way down the length of the table here. And then I have a outer loop bus line. This is the bus line here, and I use my suitcase connectors to connect the whole thing. So this is track and then suitcase connectors. And then this kind of loopy one here, this is what we wired to be the second track. So it goes to the inside here. So we'll wire this to the inside. So you've got inside loop and then the outside loops here. So all the way around, and it connects back over here. Now, interestingly, I know I'm probably going to move a little bit because it's part of my job. One of the things I asked the guys who helped build the table to do was make it so that I could split it apart. And for the most part, they did a pretty good job of doing that. And what it's meant, though, is that what we did, I know we got some stuff hanging down, but that was intentional. What we did was we connected these with these kind of trailer hitch wires so that we could run it all the way around, and I could take them apart when I needed to. And so what I had was, instead of a 10-foot table, I'd have two 5-foot tables, and then I use these lag bolts to connect it. So that's what the underside looks like. Back to the top. So what we have is these little metal pieces here on the turnout tend to catch quite a few little bits and pieces of American Flyer trains. And so specifically on my 326, which those of you who've watched a few of these videos know is a very important sentimental piece to me and probably the most important train I've got, you know that I want to be able to run that train. So check out what happens when I do. So as it comes around, the tender, I don't know if you can see that, but the tender catches on that little metal piece. And so at full speed, what that looks like, is a bump in the road, which frequently leads to a derailment. So I'm not sure what to do with that. Really frustrating in here. So let me give you another example. All right, here's one of our 661 plastic Pullman American Flyer passenger cars. It has an aftermarket knuckle coupler replacement kit that has been put on, and I'm okay with that because I kind of like knuckle couplers and make them more reliable. But in this particular case, the clearance of the knuckle coupler runs it, I don't know if you can see it real well here, but runs it right into the track switch. Which means that if it hits, you get a bump and then it separates. And if it's coming from the other way, obviously, I get not a lot of clearance. Probably a better view of it there anyway. So, I mean, I'd rather not have to go through with a Dremel tool and drill this whole thing down or soften the edges. This one, I think what I'm going to end up having to do is kind of bend and play around with the metal, which is not always very desirable, but if you want to have a functional train, I guess you got to do what you got to do. But anyway, so just a complaint, if you will, about the Lionel Fast Track. And those of you who know how much this stuff costs, obviously not a cheap option, so a little bit frustrating that I spent a little extra money to try to get some decent track, and frankly I think I prefer the American Flyer track, go figure. So yeah, that's about it for the layout rundown. I'm going to continue working on this. Need to add some more cows, I got to fix this up. I mean, every little accessory piece here needs just a little bit of work. Well, I guess these three down here are probably in pretty good shape, but we'll get the windows glued on the gill on the station here. The roof, I just finished a paint job of our log loader, so that should be ready to go here very shortly. But you know, we're probably at about the little past halfway stage of setting up the train table. But it is nice to have a nice train table with options on it that you can have several things going at one time, and entertaining for my kids who they like to play with me when we're doing the train thing. So that's it, folks. Thanks for watching, and I really do appreciate it. Very excited to show this to you because it's been a long time coming, and this will be, you know, kind of an ongoing project throughout the year. And as I continue to make major progress, I'll give you some updates. Thanks very much, folks.